Hey guys, this is Tyler Davis back with another Fiscally Fit. This time I want to lean into something that you guys can take advantage of. There have been things in the past of the 12 years that I've been doing this that I've seen some folks take missteps on that caused possible, a little bit of turbulence along the way in their mortgage transaction, and I want to help you avoid the same things. So what are some of the things? I want to talk about 3 key things that you can do to make sure your mortgage process goes super smooth along the way. The first one is gonna be not having your credit ran once you start that mortgage transaction. So once you apply and decide on what lender you're gonna go with, it's okay that if you shop around initially, but once you're under contract and you get the ball rolling, you don't want to have any new inquiries done on your credit report. Because what you might not know is the underwriter and the people that are handling your mortgage have something called a UDM in place, and that's Undisclosed Debt Monitoring. Because if you take out any new loans, let's say in the middle of the mortgage transaction, you guys need a new vehicle, or you go out and you want to make sure that the new home is all furnished, so you go to a furniture store and you open one of their house credit cards, have your credit ran, open a new trade account. Well, what that does is that actually throws off the whole thing, because any new monthly payment that you have, let's say a new vehicle payment, adds another $450 a month to your debt to income ratio. Well, that wasn't factored in when you were initially pre-approved, and that new monthly payment could actually throw things off or make your approval kind of go sideways. And that's the last thing you want. So no credit inquiries, opening new trade lines is something that we want to avoid really at all costs. That's definitely a misstep that you can take along the way that you need to make sure that you're aware of going into this transaction. So number 2 that I've seen along the way is a job change, or actually quitting your job. Your debt to income ratio, a big factor is that, of course, is your job. What is your job? What is your income? That's the income side of things. So the processor in the transaction, what they're gonna do at least 5 days before closing is they do need to call your employer and make sure that you're still employed there. So no major job changes. If you know you're getting ready to make a career change, that's something you need to speak with your lender about way up front. That way, if it is something that you can possibly strategize and get ahead of the game, that's something that maybe you and your lender can work out. You can work through it. But you don't want to surprise that on the lender in the middle of the mortgage process, because that can really throw a wrench in things. And again, the whole point is to make sure the mortgage transaction is a fun, nice, pleasant transaction. But these are some key things that you need to keep in mind that you can be doing proactively to make sure things continue to go smooth. And number 3, the big one I want to talk about here is moving money around in between your accounts, or large deposits into your bank account. Now, if you have already had all of your assets verified and you have plenty of money in the bank or your retirement account to cover your down payment and your closing costs, and all that transaction is verified, that can be one thing, that's key. But when you start moving money around in between different checking accounts, savings accounts, sending it to a spouse or a family member, getting stuff back, whether that's a Zelle payment or a Cash App, all that stuff has to be explained. All that stuff has to be tracked and traced down, especially if some of that money involved is gonna go towards this mortgage transaction in regards to your down payment and the closing costs. Every dollar has to be traced. So if you can avoid moving money around at all, that's just gonna help avoid extra documentation in regards to extra bank statements, extra transaction histories, all this extra documentation to explain where that money's coming and going. So if you can avoid any large deposits, moving the money around, that's definitely gonna help make things sail through nice and smooth. Because again, at the end of the day, the whole goal is to make sure that from the time you apply and get pre-approved and you lock in your interest rate, you're under contract, we want things to sail through nice and smooth. So the more that you can avoid any of those missteps that I've seen folks make in the past, the smoother things are gonna go for you. And that's what it's all about. As always, the big key is gonna be staying in communication with your lender and your realtor. That way everybody is on the same page, everybody's in the loop. But make sure you empower yourself and avoid these missteps that I've seen in the past. To recap, these things that might seem like they're not a big deal are actually a big deal. Knowing these three things and avoiding these three things can make sure that you avoid any missteps along the way for your mortgage transaction. And that is no new credit inquiries, no opening of new trade lines or accounts, so no vehicles or major purchases, no changes in your job or employment. Talk to your lender, of course, communication. And number 3 is going to be, if you can avoid it, don't move money around. Just let everything chill. Let it chill, baby. So again, this is Tyler Davis, your lender advisor, back with another Fiscally Fit for this week. Appreciate your time. I realize everybody's at a different spot with their fiscal fitness. If you ever want to talk, I'm here as a resource. You can call, text, or email. And when you're ready to get started, I can be found at loanswithtyler.com. I'm always prepared for my next opportunity to help.